And we are recording. So, welcome, DollBabyTina. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good today.
Good.
Today's a good day. And you?
Well, it was the first day of classes, so I made it through, and that's always good.
Oh,
um, so, well, the first thing I want to ask you is the name. Um, I always want to say baby doll. I have to train my brain to say doll baby Tina. So, how did you come up with that?
I really didn't come up with it. It's
Okay.
actually a nickname that my husband gave me. We were watching some Brat Pack film. I can't even remember what film it was,
hmm
but Sammy Davis Jr. said it to one of his chicks.
Uh,
He was like, "You're a doll baby,"
uh,
and like he was kind of like mocking him, and we were laughing about it. And then it just kind of stuck. That became my pet name for a long time. So then I just started using it
Makes
for
sense.
various social media accounts and things like that. But it's also a fashion brand in Australia
Oh, really?
that I learned because I have a shirt that says "Doll Baby" across the front.
Uh,
But yeah, that's all it is. Just something Sammy Davis Jr. said.
that's a good source.
Yeah, he was a cool cat.
Yeah, but it like you said, you use it on social media. I imagine there's not a lot of competition for that name.
I don't
You don't have
know.
like Doll Baby Tina 0052.
I'm not sure. I could look at some point, but yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. I think some people use it as a term of endearment here and there. I see it in
yeah.
passing. Yeah.
Well, that I had to play around with when I first joined Twitch. I all the names I normally use were all taken. So I started out actually as Skywalker Options because my gaming name is Options, and that of
Uh,
course was gone. That's an easy word. And I got tired of telling people, "Hey, this is Dave. You know me." So I finally realized I could change it to Dave Skywalker, and that was available. So that works.
I do have a burner account,
Yeah.
and that's like my fun name, which is Goth Acres Goddess.
Okay.
But I use that for testing and whatnot.
Yeah. I have just this one account. Um, it's enough.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm new here to Twitch. I'm not a gamer. I just ended up here one night because Scary Lady Sarah had a stream. I never knew what Twitch was. I never saw
Mhm.
it before, and that's how I ended up here.
Yeah, I had set it up because it was free from Amazon Prime a couple years ago, but I never used it until Late Bar started going on it. That's how I started.
Okay.
And now I follow 50 or 60 different DJs.
Me too. I follow too many.
Yeah,
Spend a lot of time here.
yeah. It's hard not to.
Yeah.
Especially for me, I live in South Carolina, so we don't have, places to go.
Right.
So now it's kind of like um it's like heaven. It went from, nothing, like the once a month week where, eight of us will gather at a bar and take over the music, to now every night it's like a festival.
It's been so great. It's been great to like discover a
hmm
lot of things that I may have missed. There's so many people doing so many great things here, and
Yeah.
you almost feel like you're missing out sometimes. Like some night, oh my gosh, like the weekends, there's so many people streaming and there's so much going on that I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
how do I choose?
Yeah.
But
It's an embarrassment of riches, as I've been saying. There's so many great DJs out there. It's hard to choose.
yeah,
I mean, I know it's hard for DJs sometimes to choose like who we're going to raid tonight.
that too.
Um, yeah. So I usually end up trying to steer them towards the people that I think need it, right?
Yeah.
Need the help. Ones I know that are out of work in particular,
That's
that so. doing what I can to help. We kind of skipped over my normal opening question, which was,
Sorry.
what does music mean to you?
Music is everything and nothing. You know, it's sometimes it's something I spend most of my time on. I don't watch TV at all, unless I put Twitch on my television. You know, for me, it's the last few years, it's pretty much been my saving grace. And it's something that I listen to every day, usually all day. And sometimes the songs mean everything to me. You know, they hit me right here. They hit me
Mhm.
like in the feels. And
Yep.
some days it's just a lighthearted thing that gets me through the day and lets me have, you know, a little fun. And to me, I mean, I think I feel music a little too much sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I let those lyrics get to me and I let everything, you know, kind of infiltrate everything I do. But there's a lot of stuff that's just lighthearted. And I'm really,
Yeah.
really I'm into the discovering new things or even old stuff that I missed the first
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I've been at these last 9 months of quarantine. I've been
Hmm.
like on a discovery kind of a journey.
Yeah. Yeah. I've discovered and rediscovered a lot of music. I mean,
Yeah,
stuff that I'd forgotten about from 30 years ago. It's like, I don't
right.
remember that.
Sometimes something will pop and I'll be like, oh my God, that's like, you know, or, you know,
Yeah.
the memories it brings. Like we were just kind of talking earlier, like, you know, Hassan. Sorry,
Yes.
Miguel. Sorry,
Yep.
Miguel. You know, stuff like that brings you right back to the scaffold, you
Yep.
know, on Sheffield. So
Yep. Yeah. Um, you had mentioned um, the how emotional music can be, and I think that is, I mean, I would say a lot of artists kind of intend that. I mean, that's kind of what drives them, right? Is that emotion, and I think for any artist that would hear you say that would be like, thank you, because
yeah,
that's kind of what they want to do is share that emotional feel. So that's a good sign that it's not just something that you are just to dance to or drink to or whatever, but that you know it's something you feel.
yeah,
But it's also it's a great escape sometimes too. It's good.
yeah, for sure. And that's kind of what it's been for me these last few years. I mean, um, I kind of listen to it more now. I'm not sure why that is.
Hmm.
Um, you know, I always, you know, like going to work, I'd listen to it on my commute. I'd listen to it on my way to work, going home, you know, I'd squeeze it in here or there, but now it's kind of like a constant.
Yeah. Well,
And I
one
think
is it's available.
yeah. So it's
Yeah,
like it's easier.
but it's also been trying times for last several years,
Yeah.
and that's something that we all go back to. I mean, if you think back to being a teenager, we lived with our Walkmans everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost in some ways kind of like going back to that, which is has its pros and cons, I guess.
Yeah.
If we could just be that young again, that'd be great.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go back that far. I don't know if I,
Yeah.
you know, I kind of,
Um, so one of the reasons why we're having this interview is because you're like on every channel. Um, so I see you everywhere, and you are
I do
moderating on a lot of them. So first, tell me how you got onto Twitch, and then how you got into moderating.
well, I came here to watch Sarah's stream. way back. Maybe that was, I don't know if that was February or so. And I kind of just explored from there. I really don't recall how I found many of the people I did. I know I kind of went in that recommendation thing, and I found for example, I found Subculture Post-Punk out of Connecticut. I'm trying really hard to remember how, and I've had this conversation, but I think the next one I may have found was Jeff Pazin,
Mm.
and I'm not quite sure how I ended up there, but I kind of knew him. We were acquainted a little bit through some of the Wax Track stuff. And I think it all kind of stemmed from there, because a lot of the DJs all follow each other and they all support each other on the channels. And I think the first channel I actually moderated on was DJ Jeff Moyer, who
Which
I
you just talked about the other day.
barely knew. Right. I just like showed up there one day, you know. I was trying to learn the ropes and trying to learn how to do things here because of my side job with Wax Tracks Records, and I do social media for them. So I was trying to figure it out myself, and I was trying to figure out how we could do something for the brand and to maybe bring an event or two to the space, because people were going to be stuck here, you know, stuck inside, have no place to go, you know, maybe looking for entertainment. So I just kind of started visiting the channels, and I probably learned like everyone else learned here, just by stumbling around and trying to you know, see what works and figure out like, you know, how to do things. And Jeff Moyer, he just was really trusting and put me in as a mod like from day one. So luckily there's really not too much to mod on these channels. People are so great here. People are like super friendly, and for the most part very supportive of each other. But that's how it started, and I'm not sure from there. I just, you know, was added to, you know, a few of the other channels to mod, and I don't know. Of course, I mod Wax Tracks, and that was the whole reason that I was here, and I was trying to learn because those events were starting to happen. And I think our very first event, I didn't really know what I was doing. So I actually ended up hosting someone else, not knowing how like keys work and all that.
Oh yeah.
It went fine, but it was just kind of again, it was like we were all learning, and I didn't know.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know any better, but we've been improving, I think.
Well, here's where I can work in that little bit of entrepreneurship, and that that's how entrepreneurs learn, is just by doing, right? And that's just how anybody really learns, right? You try. It's the only way to know. The only way to know something works is to try it.
Right.
The only failure is not learning.
That's true.
Yeah, so I can say on behalf of almost everybody that we love the Wax Tracks sets. I mean, those are great. Big fan. Yeah. So I mean, more of those would be great, but then again, there's all that competition. So
Right. We're trying. It's all on me, and it's just something I push them to do. I figured it would be a good thing for everybody. Initially, I was really wanting to show the movie on here, and that actually finally happened. But I wasn't really I wasn't sure who would be interested in doing events. It's not like it's you know, it's only once a month, and it's kind of not that it's hard to put together, but it's people have to be available and willing to do it and all that. And sometimes I'm shy about asking and, you know,
I think most people will jump at the chance, at least from what I've heard from people when they talk about, oh, I get to do a wax tracks night. It's like a big honor. So don't be shy. You could probably put up an auction for it.
I wouldn't do that, but
Yeah, I
I
know.
feel like the coming year is gonna be pretty good. We're gonna take January off because
Mhm,
of various things happening, but
right.
like we'll start back up in February. Um, everybody at the label, you know, has a day job. They're not
Mm,
just 100% working at the label. It's all
right.
family and friends, and everybody has other responsibilities. So um, things take longer,
Yeah.
and patience is always appreciated. But um, like I said, everyone pretty much has a day job, and
Yeah.
there's a few, you know, there's a few things that they've talked about, like they're going to release a coil album this year, summer solstice in June.
Mm,
Uh, but there's other things in the works.
cool. Well, just know that, there are a million fans out there that are all willing to help out. So
Yeah,
don't be shy about asking.
there's good.
Um,
It's a good
yeah, I mean,
crowd.
you mentioned earlier, about meeting people and it's a community. And this is something that's come up in like all of my interviews. It's we're really this is one of the great benefits of this pandemic is that we're really finding our tribes.
Absolutely, for
I mean,
sure.
we're meeting people all over the world that have similar interests, similar music, but also different stories, so we're learning more, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, I've met a lot of great people,
Mhm.
and um, I can only say I've met a handful of them in real life, but
Yeah.
there's so many more out there. Surprised I haven't met you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we may have and just not remembered. I mean, we normally would go to Chicago 3 times a year. Um, we, for 9 years or something like that, we were going to Late Bar for New Year's every year. So this is
Wow.
the first time we didn't get to, but at least they were streaming, so that was good.
Yeah.
Um, done Cold Waves a couple of times. Last year was great
Yeah.
because it was my 50th birthday weekend.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was a 5-day weekend because my birthday was on the Monday after Cold Waves.
Sweet.
So so I got some good cred with my students afterward. I came back and said I just, celebrated 5 days of festival and here I am ready to teach again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I called it my first half century celebration.
Well, that's a hell of a way to do it.
Yeah.
I had to miss, sadly, but
Yeah.
I was looking forward to, I guess we'll look forward to it this year.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. We'll
Yeah.
start it.
Well, I mean, even if it ends up not being live, I'm sure they'll put together a good
Yeah.
streaming show. So
Yeah. Don't you miss people though? I miss people. I miss hugging you guys.
yeah. Well, one of these days, virtual reality will be much more advanced and it'll be like some sci-fi movie where you just like step into this thing where you're like taking over this body that's like a
Right.
android or something like that. And I don't know, just brainstorming here. But I do believe that this whole pandemic and the changes that are coming about will lead to a lot of innovations, a lot of different differences when we come out of this. So
I mean, this has been like I said, I mean, it's been a great 9 months or so, and I hope even when things go back to normal, people still do this.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's people like, myself. For a long time, I was immunosuppressed from being sick,
Mhm.
and there's people that just can't make it out to events, and this is like the next best way to
Yeah.
enjoy that.
And there are millions of people that live outside of the big cities
True.
that can't go to shows, can't go to events, right? So for us, it's it's a 5-hour drive to Atlanta, or
Oh,
for a show, which
okay.
is can be done, but it requires 10-hour round trip plus a hotel. So it's not like just hopping on the train and going to a show and going home. Um,
Right.
but yeah, so this, I I've heard from a lot of people that they will continue in some way doing streaming once things are open. I won't say back to normal, but open.
It'll never be normal again,
Yeah,
which
new
is
normal. Although Jeff, when I think it was, he said he didn't like the idea of new normal, but that's eventually what becomes will be normal.
oh, that's true.
But
And you know, it applies to everything. Like so many people are dealing with that even in their work, in
mhm,
their jobs, and they're not able to see family, not able to see
yeah,
friends. I mean, we're all doing pretty damn good considering. I mean,
yeah. There's definitely been some hard moments. Um, my mom passed away this summer, and
I'm
I
so
couldn't go see
sorry.
her, but we did a Zoom ceremony, which was pretty nice. So my brother and sister who were in Chicago brought in some family there, and then myself, my wife, and um, her my mom's husband, who's in Florida, and others were able to join in and do a little celebration, um, which actually would have been harder to do in person with travel and everything. So, I mean,
Sorry for
you
your
take what you
loss.
can get. Yeah.
This is
Um, yeah. I mean, obviously, this hasn't been a great year, or last year hasn't been a great year. Um, and so that kind of brings me to the next point, which is the whole reason that we're having this Day of the Dolly.
day of the.
Um, yeah. So, do you want to tell us a little background?
Um, I will give you some background. So, um, December 2018, I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I spent a good year doing chemotherapy, multiple surgeries, one of which was called the Whipple, which was like a 10-hour surgery.
Wow.
Um, you can Google it if you're interested, but it's basically Frankensteining me all back together,
Mm,
taking away parts that could be cancerous later, which is like half of my pancreas and other things. And after that, I did about 6 more months of chemo. So I remained positive. I remained confident that I was good to go. My last day of chemo, I was just elated. I thought this is
mm,
it. I was caught early. I had surgery. I was good to go. That was October of last year. So this year didn't start out so great for me because I found out my cancer is back. And not only is it back, it's inoperable.
no,
So my options are not great. Um, it's,
mm,
I don't want to bum you out. I don't want to cry
yeah.
because, mascara and everything, but like, I've done a lot of hard thinking and a lot of, I've had some moments.
Yeah.
Uh, I was able to get a second opinion from a local surgeon, and I'm going to have a surgery on Friday called a Nanoknife procedure.
Okay.
The Nanoknife Procedure is basically taking the tumor, which is inoperable, placing electrodes around it and shocking it to death. And hopefully, if it goes right, if everything goes to plan, I should see some death in the cells, hopefully eradicating the tumor. It's a fairly new thing.
Yeah.
It's a fairly new procedure. I think it's been around a couple years. And the life expectancy will be about 2 years that I wouldn't have had without it. So I, of course,
Mm.
believe I'm going to have more than 2 years. I'm not ready to go anywhere. I've been ready to go anywhere. And thus the picture on Twitch.
Yeah.
You know, cancer. I can't accept that.
Right.
So I'm going to do what I have to do. I went back and forth on it. I'm not going to lie. For a while I was like, well, why prolong, let nature take its course, that kind of garbage. And then I was like, I have to do what I can,
Right.
so several of my friends, know this. My husband, who's not having the best time dealing with this.
Imagine.
He and Jeff Moyer planned this Day of the Dolly where they asked several of people that I like, the streams, and some are friends, some are, I don't know at all. And they put together this Day of the Dolly to kind of like give me a fun day of distraction, to maybe get my mind off of it. It's not going to be an easy surgery. I'm not, I'm not looking forward to it.
I bet.
But I'm just trying to remain hopeful because that's what I'm hanging on to. That's what's going to get me through.
Yeah.
And
Well,
music is a big part of it.
There is a lot that says that just that positive attitude will make a difference. Whether it's a belief in, supreme being, or just spiritualness, or just good vibrations, or whatever it is, right? There's that positivity just does seem to help. And I can assure you right now, there is like hundreds of people shooting that positivity through the interwebs at you. And
right. I appreciate the support. People have been great here. So many people have reached out, and I always feel a little bit bad because I don't know, nobody knows what's going to happen ultimately, but people are like, I could get hit by a truck tomorrow. But that's not where I'm at, but like,
right.
It's kind of like, I haven't really talked about it that much. This is probably the first time I've really, really talked about it. And when some of the DJs started posting my little head and it was floating around, I'm sure people were confused and they weren't understanding like why so many people have this little head of mine. And that's why. It's basically to rally. It's basically to make me, remember to be that girl and that little emote, because there are days when it's just, there are days, there are fucking days where, I'm inconsolable. And there's so many people that are rooting for me, and I think it's great, and I appreciate every one of you.
Yeah. And so I imagine that's one of the things that gives you hope.
That is, and technology, like, this has to work. This has to save me. I won't accept anything less. I never thought I would be in this position, I never.
Right.
I was positive. I did all the right things. I did all the treatment. I kept that positive mindset, but you know, it takes more than that.
Well, we're all here to help keep you in that positive mindset. I think after people see this, there's going to be so much more positivity. I mean, people already like you, but it's going to be, I think, even more so. I mean, we all want the best for you. We're going to send all
Thank
that
you.
love and positivity and prayers and
And good music,
sacrifices and whatnot to
good
whatever it takes.
team, funny jokes, and also most importantly, they added a little section into this Dolly Days where we're asking if you can and you're able
Mhm.
um, to donate to Wellness House, which is a cancer charity that I use and many people use it. And I highly, highly recommend them for anybody
Mhm.
who is either going through cancer or has a family member or a friend going through cancer, because they have so many different programs. And they're at wellnesshouse.org
Yeah.
and it's all free. And it's an amazing organization.
Is
They do
that Chicago based or are they national?
it's actually in Hinsdale, but right
Okay.
now they are allowing other people to come in from other areas
Okay.
because it's online.
Hmm.
They were doing everything in person. I used to go to, weekly meetings in person when it wasn't pandemic, but now they've moved everything online. And there are a few people from out of state in some of my groups, but it's just a wonderful organization. It really helped me, deal with a lot of shit that
Yeah.
cancer people, deal with. And it's just it's a good, it's,
Organization. Yeah.
it's a good organization, but for the amount of good they do, they're
Mhm.
100% non for profit. So
Right. So they're a good cause.
yeah.
Send your money there. Yeah, we can't do hype train for that, but
Right. Right.
but we can
There
still
was
encourage donations.
right. And there was, there actually were a few DJs on here that approached me that wanted to do like a charity event. And I was like,
Mhm.
no, 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 I'm good.
Mhm.
I'll be okay. I have insurance. And, you know, I didn't really, I should have thought about it, but it was my husband that came up with that. He was like, well, let's, see if we can drum up a little bit for them too, for all the good that they do.
Sure. I mean, we can all, drop the link and chat over and over again.
Sure.
Yeah. So, as we're ending here, what are like the songs or types of music or bands or something that you really
Mm,
want to hear?
mm,
This is your
There's
chance to request for the next 12 hours.
I'm happy with whatever they want to play. I go to these streams
Yeah.
on the regular. I hang out in them and I very rarely make a request. I kind of like to see what direction
Mhm.
people go, and
Yeah.
it's more important that they have fun doing it too. I mean,
Yeah. That's one of the things I'll say sometimes is trust the DJ. They know what they're doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, um, so with that, I want to thank you for taking your time to speak with me.
You.
I'm looking forward to the rest of the day. I'm going to have to teach for part of it, but I will catch as much of it as I can. So again, thank you.
Thank you, and I want to thank everybody who participates in Dolly Day. And I'll see you guys on Twitch.
All right.
I'm so awkward.